Hello, welcome in or welcome back to my channel. My name is Deb from DG Reads, and it is time to stuff my Kindle for vacation. If you've been around my channel for a little bit, you've probably heard me mention that I am headed off to South Korea at the end of March. I'm traveling with Becca at Becca and the Books and one of her Trova Trips, and I am super excited for this. It's going to be a really fun time. I'm super excited, but I do have a lot of travel time. The flights are roughly 12 hours each way, and timing-wise, I don't think I'm going to be sleeping through a ton of these flights, so I definitely need to have a lot of good reading material with me to choose from. Full transparency, no, I don't think I'm going to read all the books I'm going to talk about here, but I need to have lots of options, and I'm certainly open to more options. If you have ideas of things that you think I would enjoy on a vacation, let me know all the things down below. Generally speaking, it needs to be something I can get from my library because I do want the Kindle format or Kindle Unlimited works too, to be able to make these as transport worthy as possible. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into what I'm planning. In planning for vacation, I did a whole vlog dedicated to reading Korean authors, Korean books in translation, Korean American authors, and so forth. That will already be out by the time you're seeing this one, but I do have a couple of books that I didn't get to in that video that I think would be good to take along with me. I've got The God and the Guisan. This is by Sophie Kim. This is the sequel to The God and the Gumiho, which I did read in that video and, spoiler alert, really enjoyed. So taking along the sequel would be a good option. I don't bring a ton of physical books with me, but this is one that I might actually bring because it is very much Korean inspired and therefore would be a good one to take a picture of in Korea. This is a gifted copy that I received from Del Rey Books. An arc that I have that I think would be perfect to take along with me is Mrs. Shim is a Pillar. This is by Kang Ji-young. It is translated by Paige Morris, and it is coming out in April of 2026. I have a gifted copy here from a Harper Perennial. From what I understand, this has done really well in its original Korean language and is now being brought over to us in English for the first time. It is a crime fiction novel from what I remember. We are following a woman who has lost her husband. She has lost her job and she has children to feed and a home to try to keep for them. She gets called in for a job interview expecting it to be a cleaning job, but she winds up getting asked about her abilities as a butcher. And I think it goes some dark, maybe humorous directions from there, but I am super intrigued. While I am picking up some physical books, I don't think I'll take these with me physically, but I do have the Fever series by Karen Marie Moning to continue. I own physically Blood Fever and Fae Fever. These were both gifted copies I received from Dell. I read the first book in this series relatively recently. It was an eyeball read. It was a really quick read, so I think these would be good to pack onto my Kindle. I think they'd be quick reads, and it's a series I would enjoy continuing. We are following a young woman after the death of her sister. She goes over to Ireland to investigate and finds a whole world of supernatural creatures and paranormal things going on that she had no clue about, and it turns out she's not just your every average day human, and there's more to explore there. So I own these two physically, and then the first kind of quintet of books are finished off by Dream Fever and Shadow Fever. Those I don't own. I believe these are all readily accessible on Kindle, so I could pack them to go with me. The audiobook is not in the library system, so at this point I'm planning to read these with my eyes, but they do get a little bit longer as they go, so that might wind up changing. I do love a good thriller when I'm traveling as well, and I've had kind of a tradition of reading a Karen McManus book on each of my trips. For whatever reason, they are the right level of engaging while you're distracted on an airplane or in an airport, but also are easy reads. And I'm running out of books that she's written, unfortunately, but I do have The Cousins. This one I've seen a couple mixed reviews about. From what I understand, we are following three cousins. They really don't know each other. Their families have been disinherited basically by the grandmother, but then each of them gets an invitation from the grandmother to go work for her for a summer. The families all tell them they need to go because they want to be back in their rich grandmother's good graces, and that's really all I know about it, but I think tradition says I need to bring this one with me. I've been really wanting to get to another Janice Hallett book. I've really enjoyed the ones I've picked up from her before, and one caught my eye when I was browsing what my library had available, and that is her new 2025 release, The Killer Question. This one, she is really good at multimedia mystery thrillers. I really enjoyed The Appeal that had a lot of mixed media in it, and the blurb for this one caught my attention because it says it's a fresh edge of your seat mystery that takes place at a pub's weekend weekly trivia night, revealed through quiz categories, phone messages, and email correspondence. It feels very much in line with the appeal, and that intrigues me because I really did enjoy that one. It's getting good overall ratings, and I think this one needs to go on my list. A book that is on my official April TBR, not that I've filmed that yet, but I know I'm planning to put onto my official TBR, is The Last Time I Saw You by Liv Constantine. The buzzword challenge, the cover challenge for April is an accessory on the cover, and this one is a red cover with a necklace on it. This is an author that I've really enjoyed before and really not jived with and DNF'd before, so this one's a big question mark, but it's one that I definitely want to try. I do own a copy of it somewhere. I didn't pull it out to film, but it would be taking care of something on my physical TBR as well. I think it's buried behind some stacks of books because I've had it for a little while. The blurb for this one says, an addictive novel filled with shocking twists about the aftermath of a brutal high society murder. So I'm going into this one relatively blind with high hopes. Another author I want to get back to is Lucinda Berry, and one that I think was recommended by Lexi at Books with Lexi. Appetite for Innocence is one that has been high on my list in her backlist to get to. This one has some pretty heavy subject matter. From what I understand, we have a serial rapist in the story in the blurb, so I think this one might not be the best for actually physically on the plane, but maybe while I'm trying to read just little bits every night in smaller consumable pieces and take my time with, this one would be a good one. I did read one of her books while I was in Zanzibar and did the same thing. It was my hotel room evening read, and it had some harder material in it, but because I was spreading it out over several days that way versus just binging through, it worked quite well for that one. We've talked a little bit about continuing and finishing potentially series, and I have enjoyed in the past binging some series on vacation. My Italy trip, I binged through a whole Elise Kova series. It was a good time. So another one that would be continuing a series that's not necessarily in the Deb wheelhouse, but I do have Nothing Like the Movies by Lynn Painter. This is the sequel to Better Than the Movies, and it's a young adult, new adult, maybe romance, contemporary romance, but it does a lot of playing with tropes from classic kind of movies and rom-coms and the like. I had a good time. It was a brain off, easy read. In the first book, I picked it up for a buddy read, so I think this would be a fun one, especially maybe going through the airport where I have a lot of distractions going on. This is the right level of book where I can easily follow it even if there's other stuff going on around me. Another thriller author that I do really enjoy, and a recent acquisition, as I think it was one of the Kindle first reads from Amazon, and that is Blade by Wendy Walker. It felt like a good one to add as I was following some of the Olympic skating stuff going on. This one is set against a backdrop of high-level ice skating. We are following a young woman who once was an ice skater herself, dropped out, but when her coach winds up killed, she goes back because now she's an attorney. She's known for representing minors, and one of the minor skaters at the rink has been accused of killing the coach. This one I have on audio, I have on ebook. It's a really easy one to take with me. And then me being me, I will be taking some ARCs along with me, trying to get to some that are coming out relatively soon. So a couple that are at the top of my list. I have Japanese Gothic by Kylie Lee Baker. This is, of course, the author who wrote Bat Eater, which I absolutely love. So this is highly anticipated for me. It also has me a little bit worried because we're in two different timelines. One is actually in the future. It's October 2026. According to the blurb, we have someone who killed a roommate and doesn't actually remember doing it or why it happened. And then more so, what worries me just a tad is the historical setting, because we're also in 1877 following a samurai in hiding. So I'm intrigued by this one, a little nervous, but excited for it. I have Caretaker by Marcus Cleaver. This is, of course, the author who wrote We Used to Live Here, which I absolutely loved, which took the world by storm a bit in the horror realm. And this one, what I know of it, we have a young woman who accepts a caretaking job from Craigslist, but it doesn't go according to plan. I want to go into this one pretty blind, but I'm really excited for it. And both of these that I've just mentioned have April release dates, so they're definitely ones I need to get to sooner rather than later. And the last one I'm going to mention here is The Drop. This is by S.R. Masters, and it is set on a roller coaster. Our first stop in South Korea before the tour officially kicks off is at the amusement park, which has lots of roller coasters, so this felt really appropriate to take with me. This one also comes out in April, and it is set on a roller coaster that gets stuck 650 feet in the air. The people on the coaster have absolutely no way to get down, and I don't know much beyond that, but it felt like a good one to take with me on this trip in particular. And then the last one I wanted to mention, another one I'm probably going to have to take physically with me, is Puzzles and Perils, The Crystal Quest, a novel in 100 fantastical puzzles by Dr. Gareth Moore and Laura Jane Ayres. I just got a copy of this in the mail a few days ago from St. Martin's Griffin and immediately thought it would be perfect to take with me on vacation. In this book, you are actually getting a story, but then periodically needing to stop and solve a puzzle. And I thought that would just be so much fun to do on the plane. There are solutions at the back of the book, so you don't get stuck along the way, and especially without internet to try to look up any hints or anything. I thought this would be a lot of fun to kind of solve throughout my trip and see how that goes. So with that, do let me know in the comments below, are there any books you would recommend kind of in that thriller or not too brain heavy reading kind of category of what I'm looking for in a vacation read? Kylie is staring at me from behind the camera. She's the one who's less excited about me going on vacation. I think she's starting to figure out something weird's going on. But like I was saying, I am going to go ahead and wrap this up here. I have a lot of really exciting plans for the trip. We're already talking about where else we want to go while we're in Korea, and I am so excited. If you have any other book recommendations for me, especially things that are easy, like I said, to get on Kindle, either from a library or from KU, so I can throw them onto my Kindle at the last minute. I suspect, as always, I'll do kind of a massive download from Libby right before I leave, just to have as many options as possible. And if you've read any of these books and you either recommend them or not, give me those thoughts too, because there's only so many books I can check out. I definitely want to make sure I'm taking some good ones. And if you've made it this far and you don't have anything to comment, how about leaving me a plane emoji to wish me good reading on the plane? If you could hit that like button below, I would surely appreciate it. And subscribe if you're interested in more about my Korean travel, my book reviews in general, and my bookish content. But for now, I'll leave you here and see you real soon in a new video.